Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of It's You and Me Against the Crocs. It's you and me. Today, we are going to be talking about the most controversial issue in our country, which is corruption. It's about time we get some positive news. So let's get to it.
We have Senate Bill 1343. You can access through this link and you can find the whole copy of the bill.
Our topic for today is centered around Senate Bill 1343, which is the bill reimposing the death penalty for the crime of plunder.
For updates, the bill was introduced by the legislator back in September 2025 and as of now is pending before the Committee on Justice.
The Anti-Plunder Law or Republic Act number 7080 was approved on 1991 and was amended on 1993 by Republic Act number 7659 where the death penalty was imposed for the crime. But with the abolishment of the death penalty in 2006, the death penalty was no longer imposed from 2006 up to present. What is plunder? Plunder is defined under the law and is punishable by reclusion perpetua to death. If you have read the Anti-Plunder Law, Republic Act number 7080, it also defined therein the definition of plunder, what is a public officer, what is ill-gotten wealth, and how the crime of plunder is committed.
You can read more about plunder in the landmark case of Joseph Estrada versus Sandigan Bayan decided by the Supreme Court in November 2001.
But that is all about plunder. Let us talk about the main issue in this video about the reimposition of the death penalty for the crime of plunder. Is the imposition of the death penalty constitutional or unconstitutional? Our Constitution provides for Section 19, Paragraph 1. Excessive fines shall not be imposed, nor cruel, degrading, and inhuman punishment inflicted. Neither shall the death penalty be imposed, unless for compelling reasons involving heinous crimes, the Congress hereafter provides for it. Any death penalty shall be reduced to reclusion perpetua. When we think of heinous crimes, we think of murder, parricide, infanticide. The Congress had defined heinous crimes in 1993, of which plunder was included among the category of murder as heinous crimes at that time.
The Supreme Court emphasized that we defer to the wisdom of Congress in enacting the laws. The court also emphasized that in imposing the constitutional prohibition as it applies to criminal penalties in the case of Maturan versus Comelec, that a punishment authorized by statute is not cruel, degrading, or disproportionate to the nature of the offense unless it is flagrantly and plainly oppressive and wholly disproportionate to the nature of the offense as to shock the moral sense of the community. In another case, the court ruled that the fact that the penalty is severe is an insufficient basis to declare a law unconstitutional and does not by that circumstance alone make it cruel and inhuman. Indeed, the hardship and difficulty of the law does not render it unconstitutional per se.
Therefore, we can say that the imposition of the death penalty for the crime of plunder is not necessarily unconstitutional. At this point, we are to ask ourselves, in our history, were there persons who were convicted of the crime of plunder? The first Filipino to be charged and found guilty of plunder was Dominga Manalili. She was a former cashier at the BIR who, in 1996, diverted 260 million pesos. The trial court found her guilty on May 2001 and sentenced her to 2 terms of reclusion perpetua. The second one was in September 2007 when the Sandigan Bayan convicted former President Joseph Estrada for the crime of plunder for ill-gotten wealth of roughly 4 billion pesos. He was imposed with a penalty of reclusion perpetua. The lesser penalty was applied, there being no aggravating or mitigating circumstances on his case, and the accessory penalties of civil interdiction and perpetual absolute disqualification. However, a month later, former President Arroyo extended executive clemency by way of absolute pardon where he was restored to his full civil and political rights. So the question, were there persons who were convicted of the crime of plunder? Yes, there were 2 of them. Were they imposed the penalty of death? No. What do you think of this development? Let me hear from you in the comment section below. And that ends our episode for today. See you next time. Bye. It's you and me. It's you and me.